I'd like to personally welcome all of you to our inaugural episode of DotA 101. My name is Hector Rosario, otherwise known as The Goods. I cover the international for Absolute Legends. This show is at its core an interactive tutorial with live coaching elements. Dota, as we know, is an extremely difficult game to learn and understand, mainly because of the amount of information needed to perform, but also because it requires a team to work as a well-oiled machine in order to achieve any type of success. With that said, I took the liberty of teaching real-life friends how to play this game, and several people whom I've met throughout my time playing. I've been a coach on Reddit in Absolute Legends. I had the benefit of learning from some good people whom you'll hear of later on down the road. Some of them you'll know, some of them you won't. Nevertheless, my goal is to make Dota easier to get into by learning how to play Dota the right way. No matter the role, no matter the team, no matter your experience with MOBAs or Dota, you'll learn how to play Dota efficiently, selflessly, and more importantly, in my opinion, aggressively. Throughout the life of the show, I'll be featuring guests whom I will use as instructors on Dota 101. Dota doesn't appeal to a large amount of the esports community because of its difficulty, and in reality, it is a hindrance. I personally feel as if this should be our asset. So I'm taking it upon myself to use the same teaching methods I have used with friends to a larger scale audience, so that we together can break the fear that people have in reference to Dota. Dota is an exceptional game, and in my experience, the most team-oriented game I've ever played. It is this reason why I feel so passionate about changing the ideas that people already have about Dota. A basic breakdown of the show will be covering roles, strategies, team structures, and everything else in between. We will start with basic, intermediate, advanced, and captain's mode. These are the different levels of learning I feel people need to graduate from in order to become a complete Dota player. The number system we will use to organize episodes and roles are the same that the pros use, the 1 through 5. 1 being the carry, 2 being your middle, 3 being your solo, 4 being your jungle ganking support, 5 being your hard support. Episode 1, we will begin with the 5, because I feel at the pro level, even though supports are generally your smartest and sometimes your most skilled players, I believe that early on, it's actually easier to integrate new players into this game by making their living being useful, yet behind in golden experience. Just like the supports do in the pro scene, they are literally always stuck in the trenches with less gold and less experience as everybody else, yet they make themselves much more useful, and they have to become a factor in the game. Well, newer players that come in are generally going to be beaten by those that have already started playing, so while they're working out the kinks, you can easily transition from a really new player to an experienced one by participating in games where you don't have as much responsibility, yet you're still contributing. Today we will begin with counter ward placements, a technique called stacking and pulling, and basic level understanding of what you should be doing in support of your team. We will not be covering aggression in lane, positioning, or ganking in general. We will cover that at the intermediate level. This is strictly for those so new that they want to know how to contribute even though they just started Dota. I am using one of my real life friends in this episode. His name is Mark. He is also known as Skilled One. I taught him how to play Dota nearly 6 months ago, and though he doesn't have the time due to his real life responsibilities, he actively watches the pro scene and is a real fan of Dota. In part 2, you'll see him play a hero that he has zero familiarity with, while still performing the techniques described in part 1. I did this so you can see someone who is out of his comfort zone, yet is still being helpful and giving his team the best possible chance to win. This game is difficult, this game is competitive, and this game at sometimes is overwhelming. But by building solid fundamentals, I feel that new players can make the transition from new to experienced, like I said earlier, at a much faster rate. And this is my responsibility to do so. So without further ado, I would like to jump right into the action. Part 1 begins now. Okay, so for the benefit of anybody that has never played a MOBA, if this is the first video you're watching, I'm gonna go over the creep, followed by stacking and pulling. All these terms are obviously things that you need to know, not only as a player, but especially as a support. Alright, so the creep will spawn at 0-0, and then in 30-second intervals after that. It takes them 10 seconds to reach the tier 2 tower. It takes them 25 seconds to reach the outer tower. They go into what I call the pull zone from 22 to about 24 seconds. The radiant is 22. On the dire, it's closer to 24. This is the pull zone. That's the neutral camp that will be pulled into the lane. Here's how you're going to do it. Okay, guys, this is what we call a stack. When you stack, please remember, always stack away from the enemy creep, as to you don't want to be running into them, get disabled, and have the creep just beat the snot out of you. As you can see, this is now stacked, which means you have multiple camps. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull the neutral camp into your friendly creep in hope to kill your friendly creep, which will deny experience to your enemies, as well as give you a basically tanks to farm. And you would farm here or just do whatever, but the point is you want to stack to pull so that this happens. Alright guys, we're going to begin with the radiant side. We're going to stack and pull. I'm going to show you a few exercises. Remember that when you begin the game, they're going to come from those two angles there. They're going to, or potentially the third, but they're basically going to try to ward your pull, your lane pull, so that they don't have to worry about being denied experience. And in reality, what you should be doing is you and your partner, whomever it is, should be defending. And at lower level and intermediate level play, you're going to only be opposed by maybe one, maybe two heroes at most. You'll never really see a full team unless you're playing a CM game or just a higher level game against a very good team. But for the most part, for the sake of this video, we're just going to pretend that we're in a lower level game. As you can see here, you will hit the camp at around 52. I want you to pull away from the opposing heroes, not into them. So I want you to continue to pull there to the left side. Now you're going to wait for the incoming wave of creep. Every 30 seconds creep spawns after, of course, the bell sounds and the 0-0 hits. So at around 20, you want to pull right into this creep wave. It'll hit it. There we go. Alright, so what's going to happen here is you want to again move over to the left side away from the pull so you can see the enemy heroes that are going to try to intercept you. This is where you're going to get the majority of your experience. You are going to oftentimes be laning with a carry, and you want to give him as much gold and experience as he can, and this is how you're going to get yours. What you see me doing now is actually eating creeps so that I can do what we call a double pull. As you can see here, I'm going to come here, I'm going to kill this wave, and I'm going to continue. Now, keep in mind that at level 1, you're not going to be able to kill the wave as quickly as I just did. However, that is mainly for when you pull a wave, you either single pull or you pull a wave and you know that the neutrals will die. What you do is you wait for them to die, you pull like I did, and you take that camp and you run them into the remaining creep so that they die. That's basically the way that you want to pull it. If you look at how I pull that hard camp, that's what you want to do. You want to hit them and you want them to run straight into the neutral camp. What I'm going to do here is at 36, right when it's lined up with the tier 2 tower, this is how you can pull middle lane if you wanted to give your middle an advantage in terms of experience. This is higher level play, but it still applies. Now what you would have wanted to do here is have it double camp or stacked. You want to stack it and then you want to pull it at 36. However, just for the sake of the video, I just single pulled it. But primarily, remember, you can gain a lot of experience this way, and this is an easy way to transition to mid lane if you're ganking, because what's going to end up happening is their creep are going to be at the tower, so he obviously is going to get a few pot shots at the tower, and when he comes out, you can just disable him in any way. I'm going to pull the hard camp. You can pull the hard camp since the tier 3 is where the creep pretty much spawn. and every 30 seconds they spawn at around 31, 32. Really 32, because as you see here, I'm going to be a little bit late, but I wanted to just give you guys a little taste of, you know, all the potential camps you can pull on this side. This is definitely an advanced pull, but I just want you guys to have the knowledge in regards to the fact that you can actually pull multiple camps into lanes, not just the short lane. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to pull from the dire side. It really is just going to be a replica. Obviously, the geography changes a little bit, the directions change, but the same idea applies here. You're going to hit it at around 51 to 54. You're going to pull away from the enemy heroes, not towards them. You're going to stack, and then you're always going to pull. Not always, because if you look, you're still protected by the tower in your lane, but use your best judgment. If it's at the halfway mark, you definitely want to pull. If it's anywhere, you know, close to your tower but not being hit by a tower, you're pretty safe, so it's pretty good for you not to pull. You can just wait, but for the sake of the video, of course, we're just going to show you how to pull. So this is what you should be doing. This is how you should be farming as a 5, as a hard support. This is where the enemy heroes would come, so you want to stand exactly where I am, basically, and just try to last hit as best as you can. This is going to be a different form of a double pull, but you're going to pull back-to-back waves. Now, what's going to happen here is this wave is going, this neutral camp is going to die, so you want to double pull. Now, I make a little bit of an error here, which you'll see. I just misjudged it. I wasn't looking, if you look at my camera, I wasn't particularly looking at the HP until it was too late. You want to focus a little bit more on the HP. I took way too long to actually pull this camp. This is a common error that players will make. I obviously just made it. So this is something you want to stay away from. As you can see, I ended up salvaging it by pulling 2 of the range creep, but that is not that's not as was intended. Okay, so now you can see here, I pull again at 21. This camp will die. So what I'm going to have to do is make sure I get it right this time and not screw up, because I don't want to push my lane, and I want to make sure that, you know, obviously I do the best job that I can. So I pull it on time and in perfect unison with the death of the original neutral camp. Then, as you can see, now the others follow, and that's pretty much all she wrote. The next part of this video will be the hard camp pull into the lane, which is extremely important. At around when it's around 50, or excuse me, 50, 23, 24, around where the creeper are about to hit the tower, you want to actually pull it. But just make sure, if there's a magic number, it is around 23. You hit the camp at 23 and you proceed directly to the lane to cut them off. That is a hard camp pull on the dire side. Very, very important. Alright, now I want to get our feet wet with warding. Keep in mind that this is, I'm going to run through this. The objective of this is just to give you spots. You can look at the mini map and you can have these spots. There'll be an extensive warding guide somewhere down the road, but for now, as the 5, I just want you to keep these spots on the primary. Alright, well, again, you have the 2 access lanes that they can come through. You want to protect yourself there, but here's where you're warding. After you defend, obviously, their wards, you repel their wards, and these are the wards you want. You want to ward right here on the cliff. It'll give you sight of their access into your jungle as well as the rune. And then right there, that is a very important ward, because that's the lane ward. That gives you sight of them and their tower for TPs or any of that stuff throughout the entire laning phase. Both of them are crucial wards when you are supporting a carry. You can place a ward at Roshan here. I'm obviously using sentries since I can't have that many wards as natural ward spots. You can also ward here. All 4 of those are legitimate, you know, beginner, intermediate place to ward. If you want to place a sentry, place it here. This will give you 3 of the 4 spots. The spot right there to my right, the uphill by their ancients, and right on top of the walkway at Roshan. However, it won't see that one right there, which I walked by. But for the most part, if you place a sentry there in the middle, you can deward any of those 3 spots that they may have potentially warded on. Obviously, the one a little bit to the left of that is more of a spot where you would ward, but sometimes they do ward, but don't really. It's really not that big a deal. At lower level play, you're not going to really see wards that are so eloquently placed. They're just going to drop them wherever that they can see the rune, and because they think it's, that's the most important thing. If you wanted a ward for your mid, that's the ward I would place right there where I placed the observer ward, right next to your ancients. I believe it gives you offensive and defensive sight, but you can ward in those other 2 places, as well as right there, right above that lane. That's a ward for your mid to see their mid on the uphill, for whatever reason, to do damage, to see any impending ganks from the dire jungle into your lane. You can also ward right there or right up here in the cliff. You are less likely to be dewarded on the cliff, which is why I place an observer and not a sentry. You can also ward over here, but keep in mind this ward will not see the rune. If you are going to ward for your suicide laner, you want to ward right there. You can also ward right here if you already have wards bottom. You can also ward here if there's a ganker in the jungle. I don't believe I placed it. Yes, I did. Right there. Those are, again, keep in mind, look at the mini map. These are all the potential early game ward spots that you can place, both offensively and defensively. If there's an enchantress or Chen ganking in the jungle with smokes and constantly beating up your mid lane, you can place a sentry or a ward right there where I opened the cursor. For now, I'm just going to continue pushing just because I can. But again, I want you guys to focus on the mini map. These are pushing wards with all tier 1s down. You can place it right there because again, it'll give you sight on what's behind the tower a little bit, as well as any incoming TPs. You want to place a ward behind you. You can also place sentries there as well, and you can place a ward here. Those wards, that circle I made, were really just because you want to have all the angles protected where they can gank you. So that ward right there by the tower, we'll see behind this tower. This ward right here, that's another blind spot. That's basically the window that they have in the area, the surface area that they have to gank you. So you want to make sure that you have the sight there when you're pushing, and it's going to be a 5-on-5 push action, not when heroes are dead. Obviously you don't need to place those wards, but this is just for when it's going to be a 5-on-5 defense of the base on their side, and you want to offensively take their lanes. These are the wards, or take their mid. These are the wards that you can place in order to prevent them from being able to get the jump on you. You'll cover all your angles this way. Now I'm gonna show you where to ward, what to do when you are pushing the top lane. Okay, so you would hopefully want to have these wards already. You're gonna place a ward there, which will see the connection from the river behind you, and you want to place a ward on that hill. That basically gives you sight of everything that can gank you, or any direction that they can come from, albeit the south or the east, while you guys are pushing that tower. So the best thing to do is just have those 2 wards placed so that you can see if anybody's going to come up behind you, if they're split up, what direction they're coming from, who's coming, and in what order. And hopefully that'll give you the best opportunity, of course, to take this tier 2 tower. Moving forward, I'm going to transition bottom here shortly. This is a little bit more interesting because of the 5 war and because of the trees and the way that the dire side is set up with their ancients. There's a lot of avenues where they can come from. From my experience, I think the best path that I've seen that needs to be covered are the ones transitioning from their tier 2 middle to obviously the tier 3 on closer to your side, right there behind you. Obviously you don't want to get smoked and they can just turn around and come from the river. You want to have a ward there. You want to already have a ward placed here. This ward probably should be up if you know you're going to do it, but I mean, if not, these are all the potential. This ward right here, I think, is the important one, as well as the ward that I place second. The ward behind you is totally optional, and that should only be a rev ward because you just want to be able to see, you know, smokes or invis heroes coming up behind you like a Riki. But this ward is important because that ward right there sees all those avenues, and that's an observer ward, of course. I don't mean to confuse you guys with the difference in some rev wards being actual, you know, placeholder for wards, but I mean, of course, you're only allowed to purchase a limited amount of wards. So, but yeah, those two I think are the most crucial. The ones more west, obviously excluding the one on the hill, that ward should have probably already been up, or a ward around there so you can see the backside of Roshan. As you can see, yeah, obviously couldn't buy more wards, which is why some of it's a little confusing. But again, take a look at the map. Those two wards closest to their secret shop, either one of those wards need to be placed when you're pushing that tower, that tier 2 tower. Alright, now as I was showing earlier, but I couldn't, you know, give you an exact view. This is the sight that you'll get with wards. Obviously, when you place an observer, you'll get a larger circle of vision. But that's why that ward is so important when you're pushing that tier 2, or yeah, that tier 2 long lane from the Radiant, because that tier 2 top, there's just a lot of ways where they can kind of gank you when you're trying to take that tower. So you want to make sure you have enough sight. Obviously, without observer or without rev wards, if they smoke, you're going to be screwed. You can also place a ward here when you're tier 3 chasing, I'm going to call it, because that's what you do. You pretty much chase heroes that try to go back and forth, and you know, it's like a topsy-turvy there. But you need sight, of course, so in order to place that ward, you're going to need sight. But you can place it there and it'll give you vision. It'll be away from the towers. Alright, these are wards for the Dire. Now, if you are a support on the Dire side, these are the wards that you want to place. You want to place one at the rune, and you want to place one right there above those steps. Again, that will give you sight of the tower and any TPs and where they are at all times when you're stacking and pulling. Now, this ward, again, is one of my favorite wards, obviously, even on the Dire side, because it gives you offensive and defensive vision. You can still place that ward here if you'd like, but it's really not necessary. You probably don't want to place both the ward at the rune and then at the ancients at the same time in unison, but those are the two potential ward spots. You can ward here for your mid lane so that, you know, he's protected against any ganks, but that one is, I mean, again, I'm just showing you these spots again. These both work. This ward is probably the best ward for the Dire side if you're going to ward the bottom. But like I said, these are again very common wards for lower level play and stuff. And you can place a counter ward here, and you will again see the three that I was discussing. You won't see that one right there at the bottom left of the screen, but it's, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. For the sake of this, we're just gonna run through this again so you guys can have it embedded in your head that these are the potential ward spots that you can place. You can also place a sentry there, that'll catch that one there, but you know, it is what it is. Pretend all the tier 1s are down for the sake of this video. This will protect your tier 2 top and tier 2 middle. So I really like wards here when you're playing defensively, and you know, they unfortunately maybe have map control right now at the point of the game. So you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to place obviously these two wards here. This will protect the Dire, like I said, the Dire top tier 2 or the Dire bottom. And if your tier 1 is up, or yeah, if your tier 1 is up mid lane, this will always help. The tier 3, you want to place this ward. This ward again is to protect all avenues in there by the ancients, since there's a lot of trees and there's a lot of alleys, and it's both helpful offensively if you're Radiant pushing, and defensively if you're Dire defending. Again, these are wards that probably should already be placed if you're on the defensive. Those two wards right there will protect you from these two avenues. Again, look at the mini map. Now we are moving on to the dire pushing. So again, if you're gonna take the bottom tower, you can place a ward here to see anybody coming up. You can also, and as you can read, this is for bot wards when pushing. As I previously mentioned, you can also maybe have a ward here. Well, that ward should already be up. So those are the two wards that you should see. This is a ward where you want to place if you have the opportunity to, because this will give you, obviously, that and the ward next to that bot tower will give you complete vision of anybody coming to defend it at any angle from anywhere on the map, albeit the Radiant small camp transitioning through their jungle or straight from the tier 2. As you can see, don't really worry about what I'm doing. I'm just running around like a doofus. Pay attention to the mini map. This is what's most important for support players. Anybody running the 5, you need to know these spots. Now, when pushing this tower, you want a ward behind you where you place it for the tier 1. That ward will still suffice. You probably would want a rev ward as well in case any smokes come from the opposing side, the small camp all the way around. But you want to also maybe have a ward there as well already set. So if you have a Furion or anybody that could have gotten over there, you want to place that ward. But that ward specifically is to protect both, or to take both the tier 2 middle and tier 2 bottom. If you're going to push middle, you can definitely ward that the hill above that tier 2 camp, because it will give you vision of anybody behind there waiting. So if there's a pleasure in the other team, you can look for incoming hooks, or you can, again, see how many heroes are there, what angles they're coming from, who's coming from where, and all that stuff. You will also be able to see anybody hiding in the jungle like a pudge or whomever trying to hook. So again, keep an eye on the mini map. Keep these placeholder wards in your head. When you're gonna push this tier 3, I always like to put a sentry back there because of smoke, or smokes, or invis heroes and your blind side. You can just place a sentry there. You don't need to place a ward. I feel wards are wasted. That's probably the only, this in my opinion is the easiest tower to push, because it can only come from 2 directions, behind you obviously, or in front of you. And behind you, I don't mean behind you the long way going towards the tower. I mean actually that access where you put the rev ward, because they're gonna obviously try to get tricky, or they're just gonna man up and come from the front. Every time you take down a tower, please place a sentry or an observer ward. Place a sentry if you're the team that got their tower pushed. Make sure you have a sentry there in case of people trying to smoke in and backdoor, or invis heroes looking to gank, like a Nyx or a Riki or Gondar or some stuff. But if you are on the other team, you want to have a observer ward there so that you can see the action in the base. You can see if there are some heroes just waiting in the back or whatever. But always place an observer if you're the aggressive team pushing the tier 3 once the tier 3 is down, or place a sentry if you're the defensive team after that tower goes down. Alright guys, this is going to be the end of part 1. We're going to have a brief intermission before part 2, but before we begin, I want to clarify a few things. I want you guys to constantly practice the stacking and pulling method, as well as keep an eye on the mini-map whenever you're in a practice game, or whenever you watch the video, so that you can have that sort of perspective on where to place those wards. It's going to take a lot of practice to get the pulls right for those of you who just started, but stick with it, and believe me, people will be impressed with the fact that you can do that even though you literally just started playing. As for part 2, there was a little bit of an issue in Mark's game, so what we ended up doing was we're going to fast forward all the way to, I believe, the first pull, right before the first pull. So you're going to miss the introduction of Mark, unfortunately. You're going to have he'll be back on the show at some point, so we'll get a proper introduction with him there. So after this small commercial break, we will have part 2. Don't go anywhere.
rush down my sparkling sights. Thy nervous blood will become undone from impedious pounding ideas. Some shattering fire for this candle to die. Plug up the wormholes and give them to feeders and spirits be free. Some shattering fire for this candle to die. Plug up the wormholes and give them to feeders and spirits be freer and broil and toil and foil. Thy scalloped breastbone, roll and toll and fold the long winter in it. Think not what the season will become. Reap fruitfully at the garden den that grew masterfully over your withering sun. Stand when you delight. Beat up the bedbugs. Stand when you delight. Some shattering fire for this candle to die. Plug up the wormholes and give them to feeders and spirits be free. Some shattering fire for this candle to die. Plug up the wormholes and give them to feeders and spirits be freer and freer.
For those of you just joining us live after the break, you missed part 1. Don't fret. The VODs will be up on absolutelegends.net. You can check them at any time. In part 2, this is the live coaching session portion of this show. A little backstory. It was previously mentioned, but for those of you, again, who are just joining us, there was a little bit of an issue when we recorded the game, so we're going to skip right into the action at around 30 seconds into the game. All right. Well, as you can see, the game has already begun. Unfortunately, there was a lot of pauses and a lot of stuff going on at the beginning. But he's beginning to stack and pull. He's doing everything that we learned in part 1. This is going to be less instructional and just more flexible in terms of you're going to watch him just play a game, apply all the techniques that we did in part 1, and he's going to apply them into his actual game while still playing a free-form game and not being bound by the constrictions of, Mark do this, Mark do that. You want to always keep an eye out here when you do this. You don't want to be on that side because that's where they'll come, and if they stun you, you may end up dying. And you don't want to cut in front of creep like that and get killed. And I don't think he likes the fact that you're pulling. It's the problem with matchmaking, guys. You get, you get all sorts of mixed bags. You want to get out of there. If he ends up spinning on you, disrupt, you will apply. There you go. Now go back into lane. The creep they're very close to his tower. If you can see by the mini map, you should always you don't have to be centered on your camera. Okay. So you don't really have to pull right now. You mainly want to pull whenever you're away from tower support. This is kind of pushing it. If the creep stays here, you're generally okay. But for the most part, you want to make sure that this is the barrier right here where you do not want to pass. And if you do end up passing it, what you're going to end up having to do is stack and pull, or just pull directly and then pull from the hard camp, or pull from the medium camp to the hard camp. There you go. You disrupt them, drop your soul catcher. You should have just been auto attacking. You were never going to be in any threat, but it's okay. And remember your laning partner. We have an Omni Knight, so he's really not going to be able to do much unless he's up close. Okay, you should just go to the jungle and pull it. Because in 20 seconds you're going to have to pull. No, not the hard camp. You can pull the medium into the hard camp. Need a tree just in case. You always want to be capped off in your health. You don't want to run the risk of being too low and they jump on you and you're dead. Now you gotta go. You gotta hit him and run. This is gonna be a very short time for him. Yep. Now, the moment you're here, start attacking that creep. Oh, I think we messed up a little bit. That's fine. Don't even worry about it. Get back. Also, another thing you can improve on is your camera work. Like, when you're making a pull like that, you took a blind guess, and I took a blind guess, because you're not looking at the health. Remember, we were talking about the... You have to know the health of the mob before you make a decision as to what time you should be pulling. You should buy your boots. But look at the time. Actually, it's 5:23. So what should you be purchasing here soon in a few minutes? Or in a few seconds? Wards. So... Hotkey the courier. Use the hotkey. Use the courier. Oh, the courier's on route to middle with boots. Harass. Anytime you're in lane, you want to make sure you harass. You're stacking and pulling so that your solo can get the experience. Obviously, this wasn't the appropriate hero to apply those techniques with, because, I mean, Omni Knight really can't get aggressive with the extra levels. He can, but in the lower bracket like this, most of them really aren't. They play very defensive. But still, you applied good technique. Let's take a focus on Omni Knight's levels. What level is he? He's 4. And he missed the first minute and 30-something seconds due to, I'm not sure if you guys caught that on the time. He DC'd, and apparently somebody on his team was unpausing, so unfortunately you get this sort of mix up here. But normally he would be around level 6. You know, level up disruption. Use the courier. Bring the wards. Now, you gotta click back. They're about to engage. There you go. Nope, not just drop Soul Catcher. Just drop Soul Catcher. Oh, there you go. Did you disrupt? Yeah, you disrupted one. You still got him. Nice. Did you end up disrupting the CK?
No.
Are you sure?
Dropped the Soul Catcher.
Okay. Because you disrupted somebody, and I don't think you got Jug. You actually got CK.
Maybe.
But don't disrupt somebody that's already getting hit by wards.
By the wards. Yeah, no, I waited for the wards to come down. So.
But the wards were already down. And you disrupted while he's in it, so he doesn't take damage.
I don't think I hit him, because
you did hit him.
I think I got a creep.
Because you made illusions of him, so you did hit him.
Okay, so then I did hit him.
That's a no-go. Go place the wards. Alright, so now he's going to place wards. You should place a mid ward too, just for your guy in the middle. Yeah. Place that one right there. And then just place one in your lane. Yep. And you need to get your boots as soon as possible at this point. You want to go up, you want to look at your lane partner. Since you're going up, you're generally not going to be in trouble at this point, because you see the two people bottom at the tower. Well, not currently at the moment, but they were when I was paying attention for you. Go to the side shop, get your boots. I mean, if you want to engage, you can, but you got to be very careful, because you guys are really close to the tower. They're going to escape, and if he jumps on him, you got to be ready. Yeah. Disrupt him. Disrupt him. There you go. I meant Omni Knight, but I should have actually said something. I apologize. Now, you want to keep running? Don't worry about it. I don't know why he thinks he's Braveheart, but alright. I think at this point you should use your health pot and pour. If you're in a situation like this where you're not really winning your lane and you're technically not really losing your lane, if you look at your map, if you're paying attention to his map, the bottom lane seemed to have been struggling throughout this time period. So therefore, this is a good point for him to start moving. You gotta wait for your team. You can't play the Lone Ranger as a support here. Yeah, there you go. Also, place a ward for them. Excellent job. Don't just now you can disrupt them and soul catch them. You don't want to do it when everyone's engaging right away, but you want to make sure you do it within a relatively good period of time. I know, but you still have to make the play, is what I'm saying. You have to apply like some sort of pressure by getting a few auto attacks in, but don't do it right away, because what happens if, well, in this case you don't have, but say somebody has a skill shot, you know they're going to try to land it first. You want to give them the opportunity to make the play, and then you just make sure they can't get away. You should have gotten your purge. Why did you not get your ulti? I'm allowing you to make these mistakes because I think it's, since you're learning a new character, these are the growing pains you're gonna have to go through. But why would you not get a purge? You have to get the purge. There's just there's no excuse for not. You should obviously take the tower. Yes. You're gonna have to get back. You can deselect the aggro by applying. Disrupt. You should have disrupted him. You should have soul captured him. And if you had purge, you might have been able to purge him and get away. You should grab a port and go back top. We have to make these plays. These are plays we have to make. There's just no excuse for us not making them. Probably wanted a port middle because of the gank that's going on. Look at your mid gank. There you go. And that's your lane. There was no miss call in your lane. Even though you leave your lane, you should always call miss. The fortunate thing is that we're doing it here because this is instructional. He is in fact learning a new hero, and this is more or less how I normally help them learn. Sometimes, well, most of the time actually, we end up watching their replays and I give them advice, or I end up playing with them. Now, when I play with them, it's a totally different ball game because I'm generally not this. I don't give him this much leeway. You could drop Soul Catcher, but you're probably not going to hit him because of the amount of creep there. But you still applied pressure and you applied some damage, and that's fine. You should definitely think about going back top here. There's really nothing for you middle. Your mid's coming back and Wisp is there. Type back, let him know you're going back. Look at the time of your current ward that you have watching this room.
No, I don't have anything. Oh, okay,
yes, you do.
I'm sorry.
You place that. Okay, now go. You have enough time, so go back. You can apply some pressure to your no. You can apply some pressure to your top lane, and then you can come back and reward. Oh, nice. You're gonna disrupt them. You should have went. Oh man, this hurts. This hurts so deep. How I'm gonna correct the movement is like this. I want you to go back into the jungle, and I want you to go back into the jungle. No. The way you came. Okay, so if a player, no, give me the thing real quick. If a player is coming this way, Mark, right, and he's already here, and he's having the lead, why would you trail behind him? Right, you play football, right? Like you understand, as a DB, you have to cut the angle.
Yeah.
Why not cut the angle this way? Instead of chasing, you trailed him, and you could have easily just cut him off.
Okay.
Don't do that. Like, just cut them off. Just sit there top and farm top. It looks like bottom's okay if you look at the mini map. You want to be by your creep. If Juggernaut has his ulti, he will kill you. You want to be around as many creep as you possibly can. And if he does ult, make sure to disrupt yourself immediately. I think double tap. The double tap is on, or the double cast is on. So immediately you can do that. And he's way out of position. You're not even going to be able to help him. Get out of there. You're going to end up killing yourself if he decides to chase you and ult you. Let him die. That's a boneheaded play that he made. That it's not your responsibility. Go replace that ward top room. You better disrupt this time. Never mind. You're good. Just keep running. He won't be able to catch you. And he's probably going to flame you to all hell. But to be honest, that's a losing situation for you. And you should never, ever assist anybody that's on a suicide mission, in my opinion. There was just nothing you could do, because even if you disrupted him, it wouldn't have mattered. He's in tower range. He's just going to get hit by the tower after all the creep died. No. That one you're going to place at the traditional spot. If you want, you can place it there at the top one, yeah. Now go help. Drop Soul Catcher first. See, you don't have your ulti. This is a problem. Now disrupt your Shadow Shaman if you can. Disrupt somebody, Mark. Disrupt somebody. Thank you. Beautiful job. You could, at that point, it could be anybody, because it's still gonna do what you want it to do. But you have to get faster with this, and make sure you get purged this time. Thank you. All right. So here's a little bit of a tricky spot, right? It's good that you're gonna get wards. You're also gonna want to get counter wards at this point. Now we're gonna want to do the counter warding exercise that we did in part 1. You're going to want to apply that here at Roche. You want to make sure to always have sight up on Roche. Make sure to take their sight on as well. And remember my rule: you never place 2 wards in the same spot. They're always supposed to cover different points. So by TP, you're going to TP out. They took middle. You can port middle. That's fine. You can defend the tier 2. I don't really think it needs defending, but it's fine. This is how you'll make up some of your free farm and stuff. When Shadow Shaman gets here, just take one more creep, or one more attempt at a creep, and then you can get out. After this wave, you guys have, yeah, it's good that you go. If you want, you can ward the cliff for now. Ward the cliff. Yes, and place a sentry like right there. That's fine. Now grab the haste and cover the high ground so that you can see. You see, guys, if you come here, you can stop right there. No. Go back to the high ground and stop. Go back to above the steps.
Okay.
Right? Your hero gives you vision of the map. So if there was a ward here, you'd be able to see it from here with the ward being there while not putting this one in jeopardy, because they'll probably place one here, okay? So continue. Now you have haste. Now help your team middle, since it looks like they're going to be pushing it. And there's 2 people top. There you go. And remember to de-aggro towers. If a tower's hitting you here, A-click your creep. When you A-click your creep, what will end up happening is a tower will start attacking that creep. You don't actually always have to get out of range. You can just A-click, and it'll de-aggro the tower. You're going to get a mana boots as soon as you can, and then you're trying to get a 4-staff. We actually should have had a TP on you. So, is the courier flying? Do you know?
I don't know.
It seems like you've been doing all the supporting this game, and unfortunately, this is what's going to happen sometimes, especially when you're playing at this bracket, and especially when you play in public matches. A lot of people think that they're above warding. Even though they're not above warding, they think they're above warding, they're above upping the courier. They think it's just, they're too good for that type of stuff. So, I mean, they're too cool for school, I guess. Go back up. Look at the fighting that's going on. You have to make it to the outpost, and you have to buy 2 ports, and then you're going to port top. You missed the fight, and since you're going there without trouble, why don't you pay attention to what's going on in the fight? You have to do better with your camera. Like, you missed all the action. You have no idea what just happened. You don't know what skills have been used. You don't know if Tide uses ult. You don't know if Void uses ult. You don't know what's going on. You have to know these things, because it's imperative you understand that for the next engagement. Now go to that. Go to your tier 1 tower. I understand you think you want to push. I wouldn't push with Doombringer. Doombringer's not pushing shit.
Okay.
Especially by himself. Port to your tier 1 tower, the lane that you were in. Your tower.
Okay.
Where you were. Counter ward the top rune, since you still have the vision. You can place it on that cliff. Nope, they don't have any wards up. That's good. Now go back the way you came, and now look to attack here, especially with purge. The hero you want to purge, in my opinion, should be Enigma or Jug, really. But if you can get him, get him. See if you can disrupt him. Oh, God, you need that 4-staff. You can keep going. You can tower dive, but it's fine. Just wait. There's 3 there, and there's. I think your Shadow Shaman's about to die. Oh, you can no, you could have dove him. You can purge from a distance too.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to pull the trigger. You have numbers. Whoa, sort of.
Wait,
I know they
gonna
don't-
come back here?
Yeah, that's a good observation. There you go. You can purge him. Okay. Yep. Purge him. Okay, you disrupted him. You're gonna have to get back. Yeah. That's not the engagement I wanted for you. You're gonna have. Oh, wait, keep going. Oh, wow. That's speed. That tether is too good, man. Alright, keep going. Level up your disruption. Get your mana boots in the side shot. Alright, so now you're going to place the wards since you've taken all their tier 1 towers. Now you place the wards
Offense.
in the 2nd level. Exactly, because you guys have established map control at this point. Use your boots on cooldown. Alright, now you're going to place a ward on top room. You're probably going to place it in the same spot, but you got to be careful. Look, yeah, you see that, right? You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Just going to wait. Just wait. Alright, go place it. And I want you to place it, you know, I would like you to place it at their ancients, but you're not going to be able to. Just place it in the same spot. Same spot. Because you don't know what's on that side yet. So, yes. Come up behind him, easy game. Nope, now you want to get back. And if he ults you, you're dead. Remember to disrupt him. Save disruption. Because now what happens, if he decides to be brave and ult you, you're dead. You gotta save disruption. So when he ults, you just disrupt.
Okay.
Now you're gonna get back. You don't have purge up. You're gonna use mana boots when she's close. Meaning your wisp. Because if you give her mana, she has more mana. It's a rather interesting game. I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out, considering you guys don't really have the late game to compete, but done well early. I just don't know if it's sustainable to continue to not push like this. Because you have tier 1s, and that's great, but you don't have what you need. Now you're going to have to purge. Remember, purge Enigma. Gotta look. There you go. Nice. Apply your mana boots. That is the latest ultimate I've ever seen in a while. Alright, good job. That's fine. You died. You and Doom died. But, alright, good work. You're going to buy another teleport. As soon as you get the money, you're going to buy more wards. Whew. Tough match. You're going to push top of your team? Excellent. Use your mana boots when they're close. When you're close to them, like now. Oh, he's going back to base, but yeah, get back. Oh shit, she's screwed at this point because the wave is gonna push up. You got to start using your map focus. Look at like. Put Doom on follow if you need to, and then look at what's going on with your team. You're not using your mini map. You need to use your mini map.
She's gonna die.
Really? Because I can't see her.
What?
There you go. Like you need.
I can see.
You need to be able to move. No. Yeah, you need to be able to move while also being able to focus on the action that's going on. Turn around, disrupt him. He gave you repel. He basically gave you a free BKB. Look, they're right under you. You missed them on the mini map. They're literally right behind
They're
you.
right here.
No, they're right behind you. You missed them on the mini-map. They were literally right by the medium camp. And now look, they're right on you again. You can do... You gotta disrupt yourself now.
I purged them.
This is a rough one. Check their items. Check Enigma. Oh. Bad words. I think the misstep you did there, obviously, is you're losing, you're losing control of your hero and you're losing control of the fight. You, just focus on something. I'd rather you focus on something, even if it's the wrong target, than just look like a chicken with your head cut off. So just make a play and worry about the repercussions afterwards, because I mean, at least you're contributing in some way.
Well, I purged Tide and disrupted and purged.
True, but you did it when you were about to die way late, and you could have prevented most of that from happening if you saw them the first time when you had Repel on.
Okay.
Once this wave pushes, go to the side shop, buy another ward. You want to port with Shadow Storm, and you should probably instruct the team that they need to stick together because they're losing this game, believe it or not. And they will lose this game if they don't actually continue to push. 5-minute. I'm sure that's not the instruction that I think they'll understand, considering they should have known that in the first place. But yeah, after this, you're gonna get back. Oof. Go mid. Just port with your team. And just tell them, emphasize to them, they need to stay together. He really, this guy should really be thinking of ulting the Tide or Enigma. This Doom. Place a ward at their ancients now. You have a window. Because that guy's being chased. Look at your mini-map. Do you see what's going on?
I see in the...
Yeah.
Do you want me to place it here?
Yes, just hurry up. You gotta be fast. You're missing all of the action. Now you have to get back. And you might die now because of this. Ugh. Mark. Regardless of the fact that you don't know how to play this hero, it's irrelevant. What's more important is that you understand your camera work seriously needs improvement. Regardless if you're on Veno, or you're on CM, or you're on any other support character that you feel comfortable with, you have to improve at that. Because you literally were trying to place a ward, not knowing that there was literally a 5-minute fight that you were missing because you're too busy running around observing Shadow Demon's ass. His ass isn't that good looking that you should be on him all the time. Omni Knight got a Radiance. No shit. It's going same as your Nashor too. It's going carry on me. You just messed up his last hit too. Alright, now place a ward by Roche. You also want to get some counters. So place a ward there. No. Yeah, well, yeah. Right there. Absolutely. Then you're gonna place a counter in the middle of the river, almost about the same spot that you put last time, and just go up the high ground, check to see if, just let it come to you. If it's not flying, you gotta fly it. So, that's why I asked earlier if it's flying. It's unbelievable that at 28 minutes, with a Shadow Shaman and a Wisp, that they didn't even think of. But I mean, again, these are the pitfalls that you're gonna have when you play these types of games. So. Shadow Shaman has the right idea. He's going to want to push at his wards, although I don't know if it's going to really be effective at this point. You should have tried to hit him with a disruption.
I was trying to.
Whoever comes close, disrupt them. Well, actually, get back. His Jugs, yeah. I thought Jug was just bottom reported. You want to save the disruption. Now, get that Jug. Right, never mind, just purge him. Just purge him. He'll die anyway, but just make sure he's dead. Ideally, you want to say that for somebody else, but without him, your team fight right now is going to slack. Oh, she could have disrupted him. I knew what you were trying to do. Yeah. Oh, you're actually protected by his ulti, which was excellent timing, even though I don't think he really anticipated it to happen that way. Nice. Drop Soul Catcher. You may get lucky and get one. You don't have to disrupt anybody. Oh, there you go. You guys actually pulled this one out of your asses. Unbelievable. You can disrupt him. You can drop Soul Catcher. Ready, set, go. You have to be ready. Alright. I was hoping somebody would get there, though. That's fine. Alright, you're going to need more wards. Get the wards. Place a ward in the God spot. Place also a ward on there. A thing that we didn't get to speak about in part 1, which I know we're not going... Well, we're not going to, but we will now, excuse me, is... Anytime you take a Rax, you should always place an Observer Ward at the Rax. Inversely, anytime somebody takes your Rax, you always should have a Rev Ward, or just a Counter Ward, or a Ward of Revelation, as it's called in this game, to make sure you take away any of your wards. But if a team chooses to get lazy and they decide, hey, look, you know, we don't really want to spend the 200 gold, even though we lost the Rax, then by all means, you'll have free sight on their base. You get to count how many people are there. You get to know whether or not you can roach based on how many people are there, all that stuff. I don't know why you just
I hit the wrong key.
Use mana boots. There you go. Good stuff. You're gonna need counter wards as soon as you can. I mean,
Wards.
observer wards as soon as you can. If you notice, the two key points that Mark has wards on right now are at Roshan, on their side, and at the opponent's Ancients. Whenever they start deciding to go bottom, he will more than likely place wards in their jungle and at the what we like to call the God spot as well. Your team really needs to stick together. Teamwork is about the only way you guys are gonna win this. I mean, you guys have a decent lead now because Omni Knight went straight up carry, and they don't really have an answer for that right now. There you go. Look. There you go, bro. Hex, Cold. Dude, Soul Catcher. Don't disrupt him. Why would you disrupt? Purge him then. Oh, man. This is not good. Okay. Again, he's a new hero, so I understand. But can I ask you a question? Why would you disrupt and protect someone on the opposite team when they're in a hold, when they're being disabled?
It was
okay.
It was on accident.
Yeah, it's you're a victim of, I don't really want to say circumstance. You're just a creature of habit. You're just a victim of habit. You're so used to using that combo, but you need to know when to not pull the trigger, just like you need to know when to pull the trigger. You need to have those observer wards in your possession right now. The couriers in your base. Yes, because here you could have placed both the wards at this point. Get back. When you're going to get the ward, you're going to place it in their jungle. You're going to place one in their jungle. You're going to also place a Rev ward at the hill spot here.
Okay.
Because if they smoke, you're going to be able to see it. You're going to place a Rev ward there, right where you're at, right there. When you get the ward, you're going to go in their jungle and place it in your spot. In the spot you like. In that big rock. That's fine. So he's protecting his team from Roshan, or at least having the sight up so that if they smoke or they just run straight through, he'll have complete control of what happens in this fight, from not only his position but the fact that obviously his team will be aware, oh crap, look, there's smoke, they're coming. So, and then if they just can't see that, then I mean, there's really nothing to say. They just, you know, place it at the God spot. You have your team there. You shouldn't go that way. You should go that way. Yes, and you also have. There you go. This is about one of the only spots in the game where it's okay to place a double ward. And on the other one, you can place it there. Place the other one. There you go. Ah! Took his farm. Go back. Just stick with your team. Oh, you gotta look forward. Look forward. Look at the action that's going on. Disrupt him right now. And disrupt that Enigma. Or the Tide. Oh. I think that's my fault for saying him instead of giving you legit instructions. You should have disrupted the Enigma. You gotta disrupt yourself now. You're gonna die. That's okay, that was more my fault. Your targets are Tide or Enigma. Any one of them are out of position, you kill them. You disrupt them so that they can't set up, especially Enigma is mainly who you want to disrupt. Because you're gonna disrupt
That black hole.
the black hole. So I will take complete responsibility for that by confusing you by saying him. Although, as I said earlier, you know, your two responsibilities here are disrupting the Tide and the Enigma. Get a port. You're gonna place it in their ancients. You're gonna place the next ward in their ancients, and then you're gonna place it in the middle where their Rax was. If you get the opportunity, you don't have to kill yourself to do it though. It's important, but it's definitely not worth a life at this point. And this is pretty risky. It's good that you're being apprehensive. Why he's being apprehensive is if he goes there and say after they kill this creep wave,
They went back like
they go to their ancients or go to the top rune, and he'll be caught out of position and he'll die. So it's good that he's, you know, it's good that he has some reservation about his next move, because it could have been, you know, just a loss. And at this point, you know, if the Radiant are up 1, I think they can easily push any tower they would like. Go and place it now. You clearly see 4 of them down there. Even if you reach 1, you shouldn't die with Purge. Place it right there. Boom. Beautiful. You can place the other ward in the other spot as if you were going to take the tier 2 instead of going the actual tier 2. Never mind. Cancel that plan. Look at blue.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yep. So now all he's doing now is waiting for his team. Your job as a support is really kind of boring. Like this game, if you really think about it, was kind of boring in the sense that when you're doing the right thing, sometimes unfortunately it's going to be boring. Your end goal is you want to win, and so far he's done everything he needed to do to allow his team to work hard for that win. Look, you have somebody invisible in the jungle, and you're not you're not scouting ahead. You're not seeing. There you go. Go after the Enigma. I would definitely go after the Enigma. Don't disrupt him. Thank you. Excellent job. You can disrupt some. Never mind. You don't even need to disrupt him. I was gonna say if anyone's taking a lot of damage from the Juggernaut spin, disrupt them so they don't take any more of the damage. But they didn't even need it. But excellent job holding your disruption and just purging. That was beautiful. You don't ever want to give them, you know, a 2-second opportunity to either be able to get away, refresh a, you know, blink timer or some shit. Just instantly, just purge, and then you can just proceed on the next target, which in this case would be any one of the 3 melee heroes left. Should be pretty easy for them. Yep. Good use of the Shadow Poison to help pull or push. Excuse me. Alright, now you're going to take this opportunity to go north. Go north, place that ward. You could have went through their base, but yeah. Because you're really, yeah, just place it. Now look at what's going on. He just ulted. Oh, beautiful. That's fine. Just purge him. Oh, crap. You're going to purge and disrupt yourself. Never mind. You're gonna die. That's fine. Here's why that works. You just drew, of the 3, 1. So you literally took 33% of their total team fight, and your team dominated with the overwhelming numbers, the 4-2. So technically you died by being quote-unquote out of position, but it was for a purpose. The purpose was to place the ward so that since you're definitely not going to be needed to push, you have other heroes to push, you can place the ward, have the sight, and then what ended up happening was it was a blessing in disguise. He killed you. You could have gotten away. You have to get faster with the purge. If you purge and disrupt him instantly, you're out of there. But the fact that you died pulled him away. There were 2 people still down, and your team just completely decimated them. So, though it turned out to be, a bad thing you died, you can finally complete your 4th staff at 40 minutes, bro. You're just too good. Refresh your TP because you're gonna use one. You're gonna use one now to get there. Well, this game's over, but yeah, and then you're gonna buy more wards. Yes, no, you're not gonna buy more wards. Yep. This guy's super cocky now. You believe this guy? Like, it's like, yeah, I'm a boss. No, it's not. It's not. You're trying a new hero. I thought it would be disingenuous to actually put you on a hero you can play well to learn these concepts, because most of them are coming here to actually learn. So, hence, you were learning a new hero while still actually trying to maintain all the concepts. Well, all right, guys. I want to thank all of you for not only watching the show but supporting the show. Make sure to send all your feedback here. I want everybody to have the understanding that this is our show, so if there's anything I can improve on, if there's anything that the show content-wise needs to improve on, by all means, send me all your feedback. Remember, though, this episode was only for beginning hard supports, so I don't want to hear about any corrections of things that we didn't actually cover yet. We will be continuing to cover the rest of the roles, as well as continue to cover the 5 at the harder difficulty levels, but for now we're just going to stick to the basics, stick to beginner play. We'll be going with either the 2, so mid for beginners, and jungle supports the 4 for beginners as well. The reason why I don't know which one it's going to be is because, honestly, I'm trying to get a secret somebody for the 4. You get what I did there? He's at a tournament in Kiev. He's in the Star Ladder, so he's still playing. That's another hint. For those of you who watch me cover the International, he's the only 4 whom I interviewed. So I'm trying to get him, but with the time constraints and everything that's going on, I'm not really sure if that's going to be possible for this week. The following week, absolutely. But for now, we'll just play it by ear and check AbsoluteLegends.net for updates as to what it will be like. I will announce it as soon as I know for sure what we're going with. So once again, I want to thank all of you. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys tune in next time, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this show.